Put a hashtag replay so I know that you were here. We're going to dive into some fun topics today. So I can't wait to share with you what is on my heart. Be sure to take down some notes on this and we'll get started. But hey, what's going on, everybody? James Ng here. And today I want to talk about how in 1 year we've transitioned $5 million sales teams in our network marketing business. And I want to share with you some valuable lessons for you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, so that you can avoid the mistakes that we've made. And you can also maybe take notes on some of the things that did work. But at the end of it, it's still 10x our business and it's led to the most amazing time ever. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, be sure to like this. You might want to share this. We're also putting this on YouTube, by the way, for more mentorship on how to help you be able to develop a 7-figure MLM business. So, with that said, let me start with a story. So, if you don't know, I've been in professional network marketing for, 16 years. It's been 14 years with the same company and the same product. And through that, as you can imagine, there's many seasons of change. And that's my first note. I'd encourage that regardless of what you're doing in network marketing, that you really do your due diligence and you find a company, find a product, and you stick with it. The truth is this, is that the grass is not greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it, assuming the company checks off some important boxes. I'm not going to dive into that today. I might dive into another video, but assuming you have that, then stay and build. That's one of the biggest things that will go into this first point of what attracts leaders into your business. But throughout this time, as you start to build and achieve a little bit of success, what you'll start to realize is you start attracting different types of people into your business. In the beginning, typically you attract just those that are around you, your warm market, your hot market, your friends and your family. Your business, your partners, your clients look just like you do because you have your established influential circles. As you start to build your business and you start to taproot into their organizations, you start to see how your business starts to take a different type of life. All of a sudden, you might find yourself in a different city, state, even country, different ethnicities, diverse backgrounds, and everything. And it gets really wild and very fascinating. That's why network marketing is never boring, because you never know who you're going to encounter. You never know who's going to be a dud, quote unquote, or a stud in the sense of business performance. So as you start to build and you steward that well, I believe there's definitely laws, spiritual laws in play. God will only give you more depending on how you steward what's in your hand already. So whether that's one customer, 10 customers, 1,000 customers, how well are you stewarding that? So as you steward that, God then gives you more teams and he gives you more opportunities. Well, you then start to get into a phase. If you pass those phases, you get a little bit of success. You don't have to make lots of money, but just showcase that you're consistent, you're doing the do. All of a sudden, you might start getting into the place where leaders start getting attracted to you. Now, let me define who a leader is. A leader is somebody that's willing to do the work. There's somebody that is self thinking. There's somebody that does not need you around them to motivate them. They motivate themselves. Usually, the leaders are the ones that require the least amount of effort because they're self sustaining and they didn't need external motivation. Leaders are kind of weird. They come in all shapes and sizes and different types of backgrounds. But what they do share is high ambition, a willingness to do the work, and they are definitely self motivated. So you start to then encounter these types of leaders. And one thing I'll label this out in this point of what attracts leaders, because I think we all want leaders in our business. All right. I'll do another video diving into more of these leadership qualities. But I've realized after attracting many leaders, 7-figure plus leaders into our team, there's a couple of things that they actually look for. Right. So, number one, leaders are attracted to people that have a vision greater than what it is that they have for themselves. John Maxwell says in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, the number one law is the law of the lid. So if you have a $100,000 year vision, but they have $1 million year vision, it's going to be hard to attract that type of a leader. So that's why I highly encourage, I call it a God sized goal, to always aspire for the biggest thing that you can imagine. I'm a person of faith and I live by Ephesians 3:20 that says, to him who is exceedingly abundantly able to do more than you can ever ask or imagine. So top up your vision as big as you possibly can. Like, how big is it? Don't just think of, I just want to make enough for my bills. Everyone wants to make that goal. That's probably I'll use a hard word, but it's nothing wrong about it. But that's the laziest goal to have because it does not take creativity to want to just pay for your bills. Everyone in the world wants to pay for their bills. Why don't we aspire for more? What's something huge? What's something inspirational? What's something aspirational that gets you fired up? So dream up what that is. And for example, it doesn't have to be the top in the company, but what is that for you and your family? So for us, we defined early on. We wanted to be one of the top ranked people in our company. We literally had it on our vision board this year. Praise God, we were able to accomplish that. There were miracles and amazing collaboration, and literally just it's crazy. I would just call it obedience in itself. But have a vision that you're sold out on. Company has their vision, which is fine. Leaders don't join companies necessarily, leaders join leaders. Even if leaders are attracted to your company, we had one of our leaders, for example, they had built a multiple seven figure business. They had an organization of 25,000 people around the world. And you know what? They actually researched 100 companies and they looked at the one that we're in and they chose this company, but they cannot join the company. They have to eventually join a leader. So then the next question was, who should I join? And then they did due diligence and further investigation. And gratefully, they chose to partner with us. And now we're having a great time. So you have to make sure that your vision is attractive. All right. Number two, and what attracts leaders is leaders are also attracted to, do you have not just success yourself? Leaders don't care about how much money you're making necessarily. While that's nice to have, what leaders care about in network marketing is, do you have tools and systems that are working? The truth is, if you learn how to sell, present, prospect, you can get anyone started at any place at any time. So the challenge that leaders have isn't to get a sale, isn't to recruit another partner. The challenge that leaders have in network marketing is how to scale a sustainable business over the course of time. That's what we're dreaming for, right? We want a recurring income. We want an income that can be there for us, for our children and our children's children. So when we understand that, you understand that you need to have systems and tools that can save you time, energy, and money. So, do you have working systems in place that are duplicating, that are helping the newest person actually make money? Are you systems driven? Or are you only leader or personality driven? Now, I don't believe you have to be 100% duplicatable. I believe we're all uniquely created in the sight of God. I believe we're all given gifts and talents, and you should lean into that. However, for the foundation and the baseline of what you do, what you preach, what you train, does that duplicate into the brand new person? Because if the brand new person can win, your organization will do well. If they don't win, your organization will eventually implode from the bottom up. So do an inventory on, what are my systems and tools? Maybe it's from your mentorship, maybe it's from your company, or maybe it's something you invented, or maybe you have to be the one to invent something. But make sure that you know what your system is, that you're doing what the system is, and you're duplicating what the system is. Because if you have that, you have a working concept, and that's what people really want to look for. I hope this is interesting. Okay, I'm talking about what attracts leaders into your network marketing business. Number three, what else I believe attracts leaders is leaders want to partner with people that are not necessarily the funniest. You don't have to be the most charismatic. You don't have to be amazing on the camera. Like, I used to think that you had to be this larger than life person that was marketing and living the high life and appeared a certain way. Honestly, leaders don't care about that, or at least the right types of leaders that you want to work with that do things. Leaders want to partner with people that get stuff done. Isn't that what you want? When you work with someone, when you hire a coach, when you hire a professional, let's say I'm hiring a plumber to come over. I don't care if the plumber is super sociable. I don't care if he's funny. I don't care about anything except can he get the job done? That's what I hired him for. So, you as a leader, are you the type of person that when you say that you're going to do something, can you get the job done? I've realized that leaders are looking for people to save time for them. So, for example, one thing I do a lot is I'm like a liaison between corporate and field. So I know what corporate wants in my company, and I know what the field wants. So one thing that's really made us different is when leaders, I start talking to leaders, like I know what they need and they know what they need. And let's say they need help with onboarding systems, or let's say they need help with connecting with the right product expert in the company. Like I'm the type of person that says, if I don't know the answer, I will go get it done and let's go figure it out. I'm highly responsive. I problem solve quick. We deliver faster than anyone else. And you know what's cool about this? That's free. The most valuable thing, I hope you jot this down, the most valuable thing that leaders want, the most that they have is their time. So if you can find ways to cut down time to deliver on things, that increases your value. Convenience is huge. Case in point today, Amazon Prime is one of the big reasons why Amazon is one of the biggest e-commerce places in the world because it's convenience. Same with your service to other leaders in your business. Are you getting stuff done? So do a little inventory. When someone asks you a question about your business, even right now, a customer asks you a question, a partner asks you a question. What's your response time? Or how fast do you get a response done? You know what I think is reasonable by the end of the day? Right? Usually I will respond to everyone that asks me a question by the end of the day. Number two, even when you respond, what's the level of your response? Is it you pass the buck to someone else? Like, "Oh, I don't know, go ask so and so." Or is it taking responsibility or doing the homework or due diligence on your own end and giving a good answer? For example, let's say you don't know the answer to something, and let's say it's a product question. And I'm not a product expert, but someone else is a product expert. You know what I'll do is I'll facilitate that process. I'll say, you know what? I don't know that answer, but let me reach out to so and so, the expert, and let me connect us. Is that okay? Boom. You're getting stuff done. You're delivering the answer. One last thing that's very practical customer support. They're trying to get an order in, they're trying to figure out something in their back office. You can delegate, which is fine. Like, hey, did you go talk to partner support? Or just be like, let's go do it together. Let's go do it. That's a phrase you might want to jot down. Not you go do it, let's go do it, as Jim Rohn would say. It's a powerful thing that they know that you're down to be in the trenches with them to go solve the problems. That's a high, high value add. Okay, let me give one more thing here. I can have a list of 10 on what attracts leaders to you. But here's another one. Probably the biggest one, probably the one that is least talked about, least sexy, but is the biggest thing. What attracts leaders and actually has them stick is character. Character is who you are when no one's watching. Character is the hard work that no one wants to do. Character is the thing that social media will not tell you. Character is the actual set of values that you believe in, that you apply, that you live by. Character is the only thing that I've seen leads to long-term sustainable growth. While you can have a cool promotion, you might be able to enroll a hot stud, you might have a jump of business for a period. If you truly want long-term sustainable business, then ultimately your business will only respond and fall to the level of your character. What does that mean? For example, are you the type of person that is the same online as you are offline? Are you the type of person that is willing to be vulnerable and own up to mistakes and apologize? Are you the type of person that tells the truth, that does not give white lies? Are you the type of person that respects others and just them being a fellow human being? Are you the type of person that gossips, that talks behind other people's backs? These are things, whether pro or con, good or bad, leaders who are attentive and they know how to cut through the BS, because we all market, right? We all have an outside face. You have to. I think it's important to market. But how about when they dive deeper past the marketing? When people hang around you, are you the type of leader that people are more inspired by? Or when they hang around you, are they the type that they are more deterred by? I'll tell you, I've witnessed multiple leaders in my career where at first they put on a good show and people are attracted and they get started. So I had no problem with enrolling people. But you know what happened is these people would start hanging around with these leaders after just even a couple of weeks. And very quickly, it was like uh, one of those rotating revolving doors. People would just leave because they saw that there was some incongruency. Okay. So I hope this makes sense. What attracts leaders? This is what I've learned after transitioning 5, 7 figure sales teams just this last year. Vision, that you have working systems and tools, that you get stuff done, and character. All right. Let's move on to point number 2 now. If you're still with me, put a 1 in the comments, and then we'll go on to number 2. Number 2 thing I've learned, and now it's tougher lessons, is leaders have different seasons of business and life. I remember when I first got started in network marketing and I got my first enrollment finally. Remember that? The first person to say yes that makes you realize you're not the only crazy one. And I'm like, we're going to go conquer the world together. We're going to go cross the finish line together. We're going to go do some big things. And then they left. And you're like, what happened? Did I do something wrong? Does this thing not work? Like, what is going on here? And what I realized is here's the truth: no one's getting out of this life alive. There's a limited time that we all have. No matter how great of a person you are, great of a leader you are, great of a company you are, great of a business that you have, we all have an expiration date on literally our life, but also in our professional life. People come for a season and a reason in your life. So if you grow deep attachment and it's an unrealistic expectation that everybody is going to be at the finish line when you cross your finish line. So many times where I've seen people crumble is when the first person leaves in their business and they're like, this thing doesn't work. I can't take it. I'm gone. And they miss out on the opportunity. But it's just to realize and honor the fact that we all have different seasons of business and life. Now, I think you should be wise in your seasons who you choose to partner with. I think you should be wise to pick people that do have a long-term mindset. I think there are people that they give upfront expectations on what they're looking for, right? So for me, for example, God forbid anything bad happens, I'm a lifer. I know that I've planted my flag in my company. That's why I've been with the same company for 14 years, even through change of hands and bankruptcies and name changes and lots of stuff, because I made a values based decision, a principles based decision up front. And I've cut out any other escape plans, barring anything crazy that happens with the company. So we're going to assume the company does what they need to do. As a leader, are we the types of people that make committed decisions? Those, you can definitely find people like that. Right. So, but even with that type of a person, there's going to come a day that I retire. There's going to come a day that my season changes. All your season will change. Right. So, if we know that up front, then the question is this: how do we honor the seasons? And I think it's super important because I believe that God looks at how we honor people in these different seasons and he will bless accordingly. For example, this is what happens many times, unfortunately. When a leader comes in, we love them. We're shouting them from the rooftop. We're so happy for them. We're their best friend, and everything's great. It's like a great first date, right? And then a season changes. And let's say they have to take a step back. In this last year, I've had leaders that had to take a step back because of personal reasons. I've had leaders leave because they found something that they felt aligned better for them. I've had leaders just shift positions. I've also had leaders step up, right? So I honor them in a season that they were in the back burner. And then there's leaders that choose, this is my time. So each of those seasons are special in their own right. And I think a big test in this is do you value people more or less depending on their season? And unfortunately, what I've seen many times that cause a lot of hurt in network marketing and any business, honestly, is when we have a different type of value set on a person. So let's just put it straight. If they pay you, you value them a lot. If they don't pay you, you don't value them at all. That does not lead to long-term growth. Now, I believe there's business value and we should be wise and we should make business decisions. Of course, we're not in this for a nonprofit business. Our goal is to be able to create $1 million sales teams and to be able to build profitable businesses. However, on the core foundation, how do you value people? Do you value them based on their marketplace value or do you value them based on their personal value? And I've chosen and I've realized, and this is what makes you an attractive leader. I've made this mistake before that I only valued people that performed. And I realized that's a season, right? Now I choose to value people for just who they are, which is, in my faith, they are created in the sight of God. So no matter what they did or what they didn't do, no matter how many sales they did or didn't do, they are equal to me and you're equal to them from a personal value standpoint. If this makes sense, they'll put it to you in the comments below. I believe that healthy respect and healthy trust in relationships and long term growth starts with an important foundational understanding that we're just all on this journey of life. We're all trying to figure it out. We all fall short. We all mess up. We all have seasons. We all have reasons. We all have different things. No one knows everything about everybody. But in this season right now, I choose to honor you as a fellow brother or sister. And I hope that you choose to honor me the same way as well too. It might not mean we agree. We might agree to disagree. That's okay. It's not about what we believe or don't believe. This is about our values as a foundational thing. So if you realize that, then what I've seen is as seasons change, honor and respect them, love and respect them the same. I tell people this all the time that I'm always friendship first and business second. And I mean that. Friendship first and business second. That means that even if you don't pay me, I still love you. Do you function that way? And how do you tell when you function that way? I mean, we can say it, but actually look at your conversations. If you look at how you function on a day to day, sometimes our actions are not aligned with our words. Going back to character. So are you actually aligned with that? Okay. So I've had leaders that did amazing things and then they had to take a step down. And you know what? Of course, I would love if we continue to partner closely and build a lot and everything. But in that season, I've partnered with them and I honor them in that season. If we get, they have life stuff that happens. Great. Then I tell them, hey, no worries. Like we will pick up the slack and we will figure things out and we'll do this in an honoring way. They feel honored and they're so close. In fact, I still have really close relationships with most of the leaders that we've partnered with in our life, different seasons. Why? Because they know that we honor and love them as a person, regardless of the business season that there is. Why is this important? Because if you want long-term sustainable growth, what happens a lot of times when transitions happen is drama happens. Blaming happens, finger pointing happens. He said, she said, look at this, look at that. And what happens is in those transitions, it stalls the team. Any drama stalls the team, whether you're right or you're wrong. That's not the goal that I'm going for. What I want is I want to build a long term sustainable business that lasts and thrives. So take drama out of it and just honor people on their way in and honor people on their way down, up, or out. Either way, honor the same. And you'll see that you're going to have a very healthy transition in the inevitable seasons that come. And it's a lot of work, right? It takes weeks, sometimes months for a full transition of things. And sometimes people won't want to transition in a good way with you, but we can choose how we choose to respond. And I think that's all we can control, right? You can choose how you respond in these different types of seasons. All right. So I've understood that leaders have these different seasons. So what does that put me at? I have a deep, profound gratitude for anyone that chooses to partner in this season. Are you grateful for the one, the two, the 10, the 100, the 1,000, the whoever that you're partnering with right now? Sometimes we can get into entitlement mode. Sometimes you say, oh, look at me. I'm this cool promotion. I'm this cool rank. And we did all these cool things. Oh, I'm the best. Pride comes for the fall, right? It's definitely not the place to be at. So flip that around. And that's why now anyone that chooses to come onto a call, anyone that chooses to even raise their hand, and it doesn't matter what rank they are, or what production that they have. I'm like, that is amazing. I'm so grateful that you actually decided voluntarily, because we run a volunteer army, right? You voluntarily said yes in this season, and let me do the best that I can do to serve you. They don't exist to serve you. You exist to serve them. Put serve in the comments below if you're still with me. These are super important paradigm foundational principles that will help you last through many different types of storms. Because I'll tell you for reals, and I made a post yesterday about this. I was tired yesterday. I was exhausted. We've been through 5 7-figure team transitions, and we ended up better than where we're at. Everyone did, right? Which is great. But that's tiring. It's a lot of conversations. It's a lot of crucial conversations, a lot of late nights. It's a lot of figuring things out, but that's okay. But through those testings, if you're able to have these principles, then you're going to end up in a good place. Okay, final point. And this is a perspective point that I think has allowed us to stay consistent over the course of all these different ups and downs, whether it's through bankruptcy in the company or company change or leader change or whatever. And it's this: every transition is a test. Every transition is a test. The only way that I know how to look at life in this business is from a spiritual lens that can keep me sane. Because let's be real, who here has said something that you thought was a for sure certain thing in your life and then it changed? Put me in the comments if that's happened, right? Could have been a relationship. Could have been, I don't know, something politically you thought was going to be for you. Could have been your body. Could have been a business. I don't know. Just there's so many things that we think are going to be there. And the reality is this, is that the only and the only inevitable thing in life, Albert Einstein said this, is change. So we have to realize that that's bound to happen. So how do we actually respond to change? Right? If you're stuck in the past, if you're stuck with the status quo, you will get outdated. You will not last in business and life. That's a fickle thing to hold on to. But I know that God uses transitions as a test. These are spiritual biblical principles. And what happens is this: I want you to imagine God standing right next to you during a challenge, during a transition. And imagine you had a sales team that was producing $100,000 a year, and they were going through transition and tough times. Imagine on the other side of this test, there was $1 million sales team that God was about to grant you. But he will not give you that $1 million sales team if he does not see that you steward the transition of the $100,000 sales team at first. So what does that look like? Okay. When transition happens, change happens, do you react or do you respond? React is emotional, right? This is where leaders you see they lose a lot of influence, like huge influence blow here. You cannot be caught staying emotional. It's okay to have emotions. We all have emotions. I think it's important to be vulnerable. I think it's important to own your emotions. But you can't stay emotional, especially in decision making. So when we react, for example, we get offended. And because we get offended, we make certain business decisions that are unfair and not wise in the long term of your business. And what starts to happen if you react from offense, other people see that and they're like, oh, I don't know if I can trust this leader's decision making process because they're just basing on if they like you or not. That's not something that top sales leaders are going to be attracted to, right? What else can you be reacting to? You might react to something and you might think something's unfair or unjust. Something happened. It wasn't of your control and it hit you. And you can feel that way at first, but if you stay victim mindset and you say, woe is me, and you react that way, that becomes a very repelling characteristic of a leader because nobody wants to be around someone that just sucks the life out of you as a victim mindset. Leaders, remember from the first point, so they're attracted to people that get stuff done. Right? When we're in victim mindset, basically that's a selfish mindset because we're saying it's only me that matters, not my people. The biggest thing that crushes leaders' influence, this is one of my pet peeves, is a leader that when crisis strikes, they leave the post, they leave the field. As leaders, we're called to serve. We're meant to shepherd our people. They chose to enroll and partner with you or within your organization, whether it's direct or not direct. I look at all everyone in our organization as frontline. It's all responsibility falls back on me. Okay. That's all I can control. So what happens, unfortunately, when crisis strikes and life happens, is there's legitimate, valid things that happen. For example, last year, my wife had a high-risk pregnancy. She had to get admitted to the hospital early to monitor the baby to make sure that if things went wrong, it could have caused the death of both of them. So that was a high-risk pregnancy. Then after, praise God, baby Jaden got born totally fine. And then Becky, Jaden was in the NICU for the first 40 days of 60 days of his life. Would you agree these are pretty valid life circumstances? I hope so. It's a lot. Stuff's going on. Our first child, we're in the hospital, in and out. Where leaders lose influence in a reactive state is they take that as the way out and they just say, guys, I'm gone, period. And they don't tell their team. They don't build transition plans. They don't empower other leaders. They don't delegate. They let go of their responsibility and they just drop him. They're just gone. It's like the parents abandoned the children. It's just gone. And while the things in life are very valid, ultimately, if you want to build a successful, long-term, sustainable business, we're in a business of people and relationships. You can't just ditch people. If you ditch people, don't expect them to come back. So what should leaders do? They need to respond in those situations. Go handle your life. So we were in the hospital for 40 days. We were going back and forth, but I was on calls here and there. I was on Zooms here and there. I was still communicating with the team. The team knew what we're going through. They give you grace and love, but they need to know that there's a plan in place if you're the leader in charge. Otherwise, you just threw out your influence out of the window. This might be applicable for you right now, or at least this will be applicable for you in the future when you get here. And I just pray that when these things happen, because they will, that you respond as a leader would. You respond as a high level leader would. You respond in a responsible way. You respond with conviction and leadership and a plan. Right? So how do you respond during these things? Are you emotional or are you objective? Right? Do you search for the facts and then you go straight towards those facts? Or do you act out of emotion? Do you get offended or you choose no offense and forgiveness and you just say, life happens? They got their own decisions. Let's keep on charging forward. I have other people I need to serve right now. Are you ditching your people or are you leaning in? When you do these things well, what I know happens it says God, every single good and perfect gift comes from God, is while you might lose something in a transition, seemingly, the good things go away. God prunes the good things, and then he grafts on the great things. The great things. Do you hold on to the vision with full faith when transition's happening? Or do you give in with the tides of life? Real question. So let me end it with this story. I hope this is fascinating. If you picked up any tips at all, put a yes in the comments below. I hope that you can avoid the mistakes we've made and just take some notes on things that work. After going through, it's ironic, but God doesn't have coincidences, so it's not. Yesterday, I was exhausted. I mean, I had to keep it real. And I told my social media, I'm tired with a positive attitude. I wasn't dumping on people, but I'm tired. And I took a power nap. Amazing. And recovered a little bit. Today, actually, later that same day, that act of surrender, because we just went through a massive transition that took like 3 weeks. Um, we got a piece of news that that instantly would increase our income by 6 figures plus a year in our business. And I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Wow. We see already the team rising up. We see initiatives that the company has thrown that we could not control. It's like everything happened right after the transition and right after the test was passed. It was like perfect timing. You can call it coincidence. I call it favor and alignment and obedience. But I've just walked through these enough where I've seen that's just how God works. So if you're going through a season of transition or testing right now in your business and life, think about it this way. What if God's testing you and seeing how you'll choose to respond? And what if the reason why you're not getting the blessing that you are wanting and praying for is that you are not responding, you're reacting? Just choose to respond from now on. And instead of walking 40 years around the wilderness, maybe it'll take a couple months or a couple of weeks. Just watch what happens. Because ultimately, what God wants the most for you and I is to make sure that our character is chiseled. So, with that, I hope this is interesting. If this is, I plan to come out with more stuff like this. I've realized after mentoring people in network marketing for 15, 16 years, and we've gone through a lot of things that I don't see other people talking about. And I hope that these lessons can save you a lot of time. Let it not take you 10 years, but let it take 1 year instead. And I hope that it can give you confidence and grounding and the right philosophies and the attitude that you too will also experience similar things like attracting major leaders in your business and going through some amazing things. I want to help you build 7-figure network marketing sales teams. If this guy who's starting this business as a 19-year-old shy, broke, nerdy Asian kid that literally was so shy I couldn't order food at a restaurant myself and had no context, no friends, no anything, could now become the top ranked, leading the top ranked team in our company of 400,000 partners. Why not you? Why not you? So if that interests you, then be sure to subscribe. I put this on my YouTube. I'll put it under our, I think it's called the Ultimate Upline Podcast. And I'll continue to deliver